So it is. It's a very challenging environment to grow, but if one of my interns asked on the farm, the interns are the young folks who help me out, well, we were planting at the end of May and it was snowing, and he's like, why are we doing this here? It's like, well, if you can learn to grow here, you can grow anywhere.
This is Peak Moment. We are living at a peak of human innovation, information, wealth, and health. But we're also at a peak of population and consumption, with rising temperatures and declining resources fueled by cheap oil and gas. Peak Moment Television, bringing you examples of positive responses to energy decline and climate change through local community action.
Hi, welcome to Peak Moment. I'm Janaea Donaldson. I'm in the mountains of Colorado with Kris Holstrom. And I'm glad to be here. It's Tom 10 Farms.
Tom 10 Farm, and we're here in southwest Colorado. We're at 9,000 feet elevation.
Ooh. Woo, I'm amazed you can grow anything at 9,000
It is.
feet.
It's a challenging environment to say the least.
How long have you been here? Give us a sense of the place.
We were fortunate enough to find this land about 21 years ago.
Woo.
Place we couldn't afford these days, but I feel we're caretakers of this spot for a while, and so we've been here 21 years and have been growing small-scale commercial farm about 14, 15 years. And now I would call us a small-scale demonstration farm.
A demonstration farm.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What's that about?
Well, we had 8 years of drought, which made making a living a little difficult up here. I mean, it's already challenging because of our short growing season. And it's kind of shifted from production to education, although that's a big part of it still is
Let's
production.
go back for a second. The conditions you're in. What kind of growing season do you have?
Growing season? Yeah. Oh yes. No, we have, it's incredibly variable, and it's getting more variable due to global warming issues, I believe. Usually our last frost in the spring is the first week of June, though we've had snow on the first day of summer, and we've had snow on the 4th of July, and then we've had a last frost. You don't know if it's the first or the last if it's in July. And then in the fall, we usually get our first frost in early to mid-September, but it's
3
in
months.
August.
3 months.
3 months, if we're
Whoa.
lucky. So it is. It's a very challenging environment to grow, but if one of my interns asked on the farm, the interns are the young folks who help me out, well, we were planting at the end of May and it was snowing, and he's like, why are we doing this here? It's like, well, if you can learn to grow here, you can grow anywhere.
Oh, that's a good point there.
Point, yeah.
What kind of rainfall? Is that any kind of issue here, water?
Oh, water's a huge issue in the West, and particularly in southwest Colorado. We had the 8 years of drought, and we've had 2 years since then that have been sub-average, but better than severe drought. The well that we drilled 20 years ago is close to failing, partly because of the drought, and partly because we have more people living nearby. So water's always a challenge here. And combine water with a short growing season, it's a challenge.
My dear, I commend you for even just continuing to do it. So I see that behind us we have the greenhouse, which has got to be a cornerstone to extending your season.
Exactly.
Right?
What happened was early on, it was actually a local restaurateur came to me and said, would you consider growing for me? Because at that point we were just growing for ourselves. And I said, sure, because I never learned to say no. And that kind of led to the idea of having a year-round greenhouse, even at 9,000 feet, even though we're off-grid. So we get our electricity completely from solar and wind with a backup generator. So we gave it a shot. I have a permaculture background, did some training, and had some folks help me design our greenhouse. And it's actually quite efficient, and we do grow salad greens in there all winter long.
Wow, that's a great model. You're right. If you can do it, we all can do that.
Right.
Show me.
All right, let's go down to the greenhouse.
Hi, Pooch. Hey, Pooch. Hey, Pooch.
Come on in.
Oh, gosh, it's warm.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of crispy outside. It's a good place to be.
When you've got it in your wintertime when you're growing your greens, what's the difference that you find?
The greenhouse makes it possible to grow greens all winter, and what I've found is I don't have to use any heat at all until it's 10 degrees below zero outside.
10 below zero?
Right.
Whoa.
So It works.
This
A
is
greenhouse
gorgeous.
works.
We've got a jungle here.
This
Isn't
is a
this
jungle.
Gorgeous.
So this is the kind of the transition period. We're in October of 2007. So we've had our summer crops in here, and we still have some left. We have tomatoes, tomatoes back here. This is a large grapevine that we actually had our first grapes off
You
of.
actually get grapes?
We had our first grapes this year. It was very exciting.
nice.
They were very good. So we'll be transitioning. We'll be putting in the winter greens next. So this is kale and some chard, different kinds of kale.
Those are your winter greens.
Yeah, these have actually been in here all summer. So they help for our transition so that we still have things to eat. Outside
for the
now we've
fall.
had a couple of
Right.
hard frosts. It's probably been down to 20 degrees outside already. So right now we concentrate on cleaning up outside and getting the greenhouse going. The design was, again, based on permaculture principles. We have set the greenhouse down into the ground. It has actually 2 layers of perforated pipe underneath the beds that go into a single box that we'll check out in a minute. And it's on a thermostat. So when the sun heats up the air in here and it reaches a certain temperature, that warm air is actually slowly pushed into the beds.
Really?
That uses the mass of the soil as a thermal storage,
to keep it warm. from the
Right.
cold, which keeps it overnight.
which
as well.
moderates the temperature,
Wow.
and which is one of the reasons we don't have to heat often in the winter.
That's brilliant.
We also have the pond, which is also serving as a drying rack right now for catnip.
Let's go on over to it.
Okay.
So we've got back here, behind the, what do we have? Anise. It's a sweet
We've
little
got fennel. We
pond.
have a little waterfall. This was designed by one of my interns, and again, it's kind of a mess because of the catnip drying. But the water serves as an additional thermal mass to add more heat in the greenhouse. Plus, with permaculture, beauty is as important as almost anything else.
Yes.
And so the beauty of the waterfall, the sound, the trickling sound of the water, is all part of the package that we're striving for. So we have
So is that on a little pump?
it's on a little pump. Again, since we're off grid, we keep our electricity uses as low as possible. So it's a little small pump.
Nice.
There's some fish in there and lotus, and we skim off this plant that's on the surface and dry it for fertilizer. And then there's a little floating strawberry island, sort of.
What a fun idea.
The whole farm and what we're doing is a big experiment. So I really encourage our interns and our own creativity and think of, okay, what can we do that's a little bit out of the box? So this was actually a meditation platform that one of the interns put up. And it's a pretty fun place to come in the winter. When a couple of years ago, my daughter and I were in here working, and we'd shed a good portion of our upper clothes and working around. We had music going and looked up, and it was blizzarding outside. So here we were in a semi-tropical mode, and outside it was a full-on blizzard.
Wow. Well, it gives me hope seeing this kind of setting that you're right, that we could do growing anywhere.
We're at 9,000 feet, short season, severe winters, and we produce all winter long. At the peak in the greenhouse, I can produce 20 pounds of salad greens every week. So that's a significant amount.
Yes. Yes.
Back to the design. We've got 2 layers of plastic that will inflate, and hopefully I'll be getting enough funds to replace that with a polycarbonate that has a better R value, a better insulated value, and will last longer. This has to be...
That's in this slanting, south-facing part.
Yep. And then another design feature is this kind of low sloping roof. We built it to hold snow as opposed to shed snow.
Hold it. So you're using the snow as part of your insulation?
That's exactly right.
Which sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, to those of us who aren't snow people, but it
Yep.
will hold the heat in?
Yeah, it holds the heat in and lets us use that snow in a way that normally we wouldn't.
So, Kris, I'm interested to know what kinds of things you're growing.
Sure. We have a wide variety of things. The permaculture way is to have a lot of diversity in here so that you don't have a lot of one thing making you vulnerable to a certain pest. Our pests, we do have aphids and whiteflies in the greenhouse.
Okay.
We'll be putting up yellow plastic plates covered with vegetable oil this week. The whiteflies are attracted to yellow and they hit the oil and they're stuck.
Nice.
So it's a
That's
very
nice, simple little
simple
method.
way, and it's late in the season, so their numbers have built up. Aphids, we use a combination of garlic and hot peppers as a spray, and sometimes we'll use agro-neem, a neem product, which is a tree from India that has insecticidal properties. So in terms of the variety of what we're growing, we have some of the kales and chard. We have cherry tomatoes. Next to the cherry tomatoes is some horseradish with the big leaf.
Oh,
There's actually some, I think that is carrot going to seed. Some more tomatoes. It's kind, like you say, it's kind of a jungle.
I love it. It looks kind of wild. So like we're in tropics, kind of.
Exactly.
I see an artichoke. Is that an artichoke?
There's an
here?
artichoke.
Look at that beautiful purple flower.
That one we're going to let go to flower because the flowers are so beautiful, and then the plant will produce more over the winter. There's some green peppers. We have a little bit of the winter greens starting to come up with the arugula, and we're seeding lettuces and oriental greens right now. This patch of straw here, we had the Telluride Mushroom Festival in August, and this is actually a mushroom bed. We're exploring, following up on some of the work of Paul Stamets, trying to grow mushrooms as an understory to vegetables. So we put down cardboard and then the mushroom spawn and then the straw. And then we'll see when we transition over to the back, we have some other mushroom things happening.
Nice.
But we
big
have some
tomatoes
big
too.
tomatoes. This is a yacon. It's
What is
a root crop from South America. That's the first time we've grown it. Very jungly looking plant.
Yeah, it's fabulous. What kind of
It's
something will
a
come from it?
tuber. It's a somewhat sweet tuber,
Oh, like jicama, perhaps.
but I think smaller. So
Okay.
that'll be an interesting one to.
What I hear in this is there's also experimentation, because if you're growing South American foods and things from other climates,
Yep.
you're just seeing what works here.
Exactly.
Is this a drying rack?
This is a seedling rack in the spring where we start seeds, and now it's a drying rack. So again, we have more catnip. We had large bushes of catnip in here earlier. Fennel, which is another plant that California sees a lot of. We like it in here because it's a home for beneficial insects. We also do use the sprigs of it in our salad mix. So it adds a nice little taste.
What's on the other side over there? What's the really pretty purple flowers? I mean, in your little
That's-
jungle there?
That's a sage flower. So there's culinary sage mixed in with kale and tomato. So that's quite the little
real
spot
pretty.
there.
Very pretty.
And then here we have a little more nasturtium, a beet that has been ignored for a while, and then a trellis here for the grape. We're actually growing a squash, some winter squash up here. One of the challenges in greenhouses is using vertical space.
Yes.
So we're finding ways to get up and around, and this trellis works really well. This was a 6th grade in Telluride. They do art projects with the Pinhead and the Smithsonian Institute, so they do insects.
I was going to say, this looks like a
is
wire insect
It's
here.
a very large ant.
With its antenna.
Yes.
All right.
And there's some others hiding around. And then right behind the camera we have a fig tree, which I'm hoping next year, possibly the year after, we'll actually get some figs. So it'll be so good. We'll go back to the messy part of the greenhouse.
Oh yeah, but it looks lived in. It looks happy. You know what? Look at that! You've got mushrooms growing out of bags.
Yes, this is again from the Mushroom Festival. These are oyster mushrooms. This one's a little past eating, but prime, but we'll eat it anyway. This is mushroom spawn grown in straw. The straw is pasteurized and packed in the bags, and then
Pasteurized, heated up.
heated up, not sterilized, but pasteurized. So we do that
There's
in.
a little guy just poking right out
There's
there.
a baby right there, and some friends to encourage good growth. We also have some shiitake and reishi mushrooms in the logs. And that's actually from a year ago,
Really?
and they would hopefully start fruiting this spring.
So you've inoculated the spore? Is that what those little holes
Yep,
are?
they're little
in
wooden
here?
dowels from Fungi Perfecti, Paul Stamets' company, and you pound them in and then seal them with wax. Then they take their time running through the wood, and eventually will sprout from there.
Well, that'll be real interesting to see.
Yeah, because we like our mushrooms, and then we can actually keep this going by putting it in fresh straw. The water tank will fill up with water, and anyone familiar with Masaru Emoto's work and the hidden messages of water, We have peace and prosperity and love and some other
Written
things
on your water tank.
on our water tank.
Well, Emoto's work with water, which viewers may not be familiar with, suggests that water holds the energy that we put into it, our good wishes or our bad wishes. They're embedded in the molecules, in the structure.
So we talk about, with the interns and with the kids who are up here, we talk about intention and how the way you approach a task affects the task, in addition to affecting you. But the mushrooms are a fairly new addition, and we're really excited that we get to enjoy some yummy edible mushrooms.
Right.
Again, here at 9,000 feet. And
Okay.
back here we have a little intern home.
Nice.
The princess in the
Probably
pea
one of the
bed.
more comfortable places to be, actually.
Yes, it's pretty warm. And then this project is obviously underway. This is another water tank for thermal mass and heat in the greenhouse. And we're going to be doing a waterfall wall behind that. So there'll be flow forms and water will be moving. We're going to install an indoor solar water panel, and we'll be circulating
Solar
that
hot
water
water.
in the tank as another means of reducing our use of fossil fuel.
So, will that hot water, is that hot water tank plumbed to your beds? Or
Not
is
at
this
this point. It's going to be circulating, and the grand scheme is to have water circulating from the front pond up and through some really interesting art projects and then back into this tank, so that it's kind of a watery loop that incorporates water wheels and crystals and copper and all
My
these really
goodness, we're
fun
going to come
things.
back in a few years when you've got this together.
That would be great.
Just to see what it's come to.
Yep. Art is a big part of what we try and incorporate. Even just the wood
see
sunburst
that.
behind here was an intern's
Beautiful.
interpretation. And
Beautiful to have the
yeah.
the wood of the local, aspen? Pine?
That's probably aspen and some fir.
Nice. Woo, it's cooler
Oh,
out
that
here.
feels better. Let's go see the rest of the garden.
Okay. So you've got an outdoor garden too?
Yes, we have chickens. We had goats in the summer. They've gone down to lower elevations for the winter. We have raspberries that the deer have done our pruning for us. Comfrey, which we use for medicinal herbs. A currant bush. And
okay.
then we'll head up to the main part of the garden. So we decided we in permaculture, you want your herbs and the things you get frequently to be as close to the house as possible. We have all sorts of herbs in here, from mint, oregano, thyme and lemon thyme, tarragon. We have a few shrubs. We have some elderberry and serviceberry, and these walking onions, they're called.
Walking onions.
They create the
look at
onion,
that.
and then the bulbs form on top. Grandchildren and great-grandchildren, they get heavy and they fall over. So they kind of move over time
Oh my goodness.
to different
What a
spots.
fun idea.
And again, we've had several frosts, so it looks a little ragged, but I was quite pleased with the amount of herbs that are actually perennial at this elevation.
Do you sell those also
Yes.
as part of your farm?
Yep.
Farm produce?
We sell them and use them. We have sorrel here, which is a spicy, lemony sort of herb.
Mints? Do your mints grow?
The mints do fine, yes. We have several kinds there, and apple mint that we use for teas, and spearmint, and peppermint.
So,
And then up here is the heart of our power system. We have 2 banks of solar. One is on tracks the sun. It's on a tracker,
okay.
just like a sunflower. So in the morning it's facing east, and in the evening it faces west, and then it goes back east. And then we also have a small wind generator, which is in the totally wrong place. It should be up high, but
That's a good experiment.
eventually it'll get moved to the right spot. A huge bank of currant bushes here, and delicious. Finding the fruits that'll grow at this elevation, we look to what's native and wild, and then we again try to find out how far we can push the season. What fruits can we bring up that will actually live here? So the elderberry, for example, has beautiful flowers, but it always gets frosted before it fruits. So we've learned to make an elderflower syrup instead of waiting for the berries.
Okay.
And then eventually, hopefully next year, I'll have look for some varieties that have a shorter growing season, and we'll actually get berries too. Let's go up into the main garden. We'll show you our summer production area.
This is big.
It's less than a half an acre, but we do manage it intensively.
Wow.
So it's fairly productive. And again, we've had our frost, so this is a transition time for us.
So you're using the plastic cover to just sort of extend your season a little bit on some of those
Right.
beds?
We look at all sorts of season extension possibilities. And a little wind blown.
Yep,
But we
it's a
use the white lightweight
Oh,
is
so-
a row cover. We actually keep that on our beds all the time.
Really?
In the summer, we start out in the spring. It does many things. Permaculture is all about multiple uses. So the row cover holds more moisture in the spring. It keeps bugs off.
Oh yeah, okay.
And interesting enough, we're at 9,000 feet. It prevents the plants from getting sunburned. Our
Sunburn! I never thought about well,
our
you can
sun
get too
is
hot.
so
Yes.
intense at 9,000 feet that we have gotten sunburned plants
my
before. So that's
goodness.
another thing that it does. And then the plastic, we were just trying to extend the season a little bit longer. There's actually a few greens
Oh yeah.
left, some Mizuna. And we use drip irrigation, conserve water. The unfortunate thing about this is we haven't found a good way to recycle it. So we
This
use it
material.
until it shreds, and then we have to throw it away.
Darn.
The dried vines here is hops, a very nice herb. It's a sedative. There's an interesting story. One of my interns had a book on herbal beers. And apparently before, in the early days, most of the beers had sometimes hallucinogenic effects because they didn't use hops. They used other flavorings and things to as the basis of the beer. And when the Christians came in, they decided that was a little too risky and a little too wild, and they actually mandated that hops be used in the beers because it's a sedative. So
Calm us down, even that.
not only does it make it more bitter, but it also helps as a sedative. I thought that was pretty interesting. We want to do some herbal beer brewing, but that'll come. What else is in here? We have the dried sunflowers. Those are all wild, and just add to the beauty. In the middle of the summer, we have these vast amounts of bright yellow sunflowers cheering up the day, and we.
So are these, is that?
This is
that's
this,
the
the
little,
dried-
little sunflowers.
Yep. And here's some of the greens. There's still a little life left, even though it's been so cold.
What are they?
That's mustard.
And this too?
Very spicy, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And
Beans? Were these beans?
those are another mustard green, and we're gonna
Uh-huh.
save the seeds from those.
Okay.
It's challenging to save seeds because our season is so short and our space is limited, but we're trying a few of the mustard greens because that's one of the crops that does really well up here. All the salad greens love it up here because it's always cool.
Oh yes, of
You know,
course.
it will get hot. It will get into the 90s, which makes us all cringe and run for shade. But the nights are always cool,
Even in the summertime.
even in the summer.
Okay. So.
We have along the edge, we have Siberian pea shrub, which is a nitrogen fixer to improve the soil.
Okay.
And we have some other shrubberies,
So-
some dogwood and some mugwort. So we're trying to create a windbreak over time.
Because your wind will be coming up the hill,
Right.
right?
So that's just another way of extending our season by protecting our plants from the wind. And then you'll see some people think it's a little messy, but the prayer flags are all made by local children.
Oh,
We have a lot of
really?
kids groups in the summer who come up. And reduce, reuse, recycle. So this is all teepees that have gone beyond their day. So we take the teepee material and cut them up into the prayer flags. And then as the kids have their tour and usually do some work in the garden, we ask them to leave something for us because we're giving them something. And what we want from them is their hopes and dreams for the farm and what they saw on the farm that they liked and pretty patterns. And I just love having
What
the
a
prayer flags
nice
up.
spirit to have them learn about giving back
Yes.
when they've been given to. I mean,
I think it's
we
something
would do well that
our
a
culture
lot of
could
adults
use.
could use.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because we're very busily taking and taking and taking and taking,
Yeah.
and the planet is
And I
hurting
think
for it.
I think that the magic of this spot in particular, that that again our family is privileged to caretake is that it draws in very good energy, and in response we have to give that out. So we do as much as we can to do education, to invite people up to get their hands dirty. So many people don't know where their food comes from or don't have the opportunity to get dirt under their nails, and I think that's kind of essential.
Well, I think it makes it real. You know, it's not
Yeah.
grown in the supermarket, thank you.
Right.
It's
and
real.
and the kids can see directly. I had a kid one time who came to the greenhouse, and we had spinach growing in the greenhouse, and he'd never liked spinach before, and he tried some in the greenhouse, and he was just, as kids can be, more, and he loves spinach because he had it fresh. He saw it where it was grown. He was able to pick it there.
He had a relationship with it.
Exactly.
He had a relationship. It wasn't just an object.
Yep.
Oh, Kris. Well, that kind of spirit that you bring here is a reflection of who you are and your own energy.
Yeah, it's
people are welcomed here.
Indeed. It is a very welcoming place. I've had over 75 interns over the course of the years we've been here.
That's a lot.
And I tell every one of them they're always welcome back. They always have a place to stay. It's not just about me. It's about us again, and community, and our little farm community is very, we're very loving. You know, it's a different kind of loving relationship that I think many of us miss out on. And one thing I've noticed with the young people coming in, they're usually in their 20s, and is the opportunity to have a loving relationship when you've left your home is really important.
Yes.
Is to still know that exists, and it's just,
Kind
I
of
get goosebumps again. I love
family of
my farm
choice.
family.
Oh, I can see why. I mean, I felt that the moment we drove up is, welcomed.
Yep.
We were immediately part of the family. It was
Exactly.
wonderful.
Yeah. So the
Yes.
garden is the heart of things, and we'll keep it on. Just some other interesting things. We have yurts. The interns live in yurts and teepees. The teepees are already down because once they get snowed on, they're there for the winter. And so we're working at different kinds of living arrangements too. I kind of see in the future that our current paradigm of land ownership may be shifting in a major way. I mean, why do I individually have to own this 40 acres? It's like it's more than just me, and it doesn't really belong to me. And so being able to share it with these young people in a more permanent fashion, I think is something that might develop. I hope something that develops.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Thank you. It's such a delight to have you here.
Wonderful tour.
Absolutely.
You're watching Peak Moment, Community Responses for a Changing Energy Future. I'm Janaea Donaldson. Join us next time.